This is our episode after Girls Done Gone Wild in Kemperbad, and also, and importantly, after the Lads episode. Now, you might be sitting here starting this episode going, where's Lads? What the fuck? I haven't heard of it. We have written that episode up rather than re-record it because we lost it in a most unfortunate sound issue as we went from the old production PC to the new production PC. We have the whole episode recorded without sound. It's really great. We're all, it's brilliant. So we're going to do that as a small story. All you need to be aware of is that by the end of it, if you haven't read it, our lads had just reached the point where they'd arrived where the girls had finished theirs. In a state of absolute certainty, they were about to make a great and cunning rescue. And that is where we begin. With Elrick. Elrick has plans for Kemperbad. He made plans some time ago with Christoph Engels during his Tales of Reik to meet up with a celestial wizard inside Kemperbad by the name of Sybil, apparently a friend of Engels. And unfortunately, you have literally no idea where she might be in town. Kemperbad is quite sizable, but like most towns, it's got a centre. And around that centre, there are only so many inns, there are only so many places to go. And if there's one thing you can say about Elrick, he's pretty determined. And when he sets his mind on something, he's quite happy to go knocking, and getting what he wants. Plus, presumably, a wizard is relatively obvious. He knows he freaking is.
Well, he's learned from Engels, not always. But I guess from his background, he'll follow the soldiers or equivalent, because usually they would know who's coming in and coming out of a town.
Totally. And that's a good one. So I'm going to broadly paint the brushstrokes of where you are and give you an idea of everything so you can then make some choice decisions. Kemperbad, as we've discussed multiple times, is right on the top of a cliff. And originally, this was where the site of a massive waterfall used to be. But over the course of time, that waterfall cut its way back into the cliff, and that got turned into a lock system. Far too much water passed through there for the lock system itself, so the rivers have been split out like a fan across the top of the cliffs and fallen waterfalls down multiple sides. Kemperbad itself is split through these, and these channels are used for trade. They will often work down these canals, drop off trade at local businesses, at inns, or any equivalent. And that means Kemperbad itself is a city of bridges. And also, it's got a bridge that goes right across the Stour over the lock system that's down below. Meaning that it's got a smaller bit of city over here and a big bit of city on the other side. The primary walls are over on one side, the smaller cities on the other. And if they were ever attacked, they would all retreat over to the main part of the city. It's fair to say that even with limited expertise in warfare, this place looks particularly defensible. Not just because of the multiple water flows that move through this area, meaning that you can just create natural barriers, but the cliffs themselves. It also only requires walls, in truth, on two sides, although it has walls on three. Loosely, that's Kemperbad. The lock system moves down. The foot shover is already at the top of that system and is due to join the queue to go down into the next morning in about an hour. The girls have been giggling away excitedly about going out, and you've heard them laughing away in the background. The boys who invited you to come out earlier, and you were like, no, I've got stuff to do.
Yeah.
They have been exercising some discretion by trying to get as drunk as possible before they go out.
Yeah.
It seems to be letting off a bit of steam time for everyone else. But the one who is most likely to be carrying all the steam, you, isn't. And poor old Flaster has been left on baby watching duty. Could be worse. I mean, that's not her normal job, really, isn't it? I'm perhaps making a slight stab at Gerhardt there. Seems so unfair.
Better when he's not here.
Easier when he's not here. So it's certainly a job she's used to doing. Maybe that's why Gerhardt, I don't know, gets so upset that she keeps on getting left on baby keeping duty because it reminds him of himself. Nah. Elrick does his typical early evening Elricky things. finishing off any study for the day, a little bit of meditation to ensure that the bright wind doesn't overtake him. The awareness that having just come out of the Great Circle, that the Jade Wind, for the first time pretty much since he came to the colleges, had been dangerously high within him, and potentially manifesting, which again requires meditation and careful drawing in of actually lighting the braziers on his shoulders, lighting candles around the room, and creating a gentle flow of actually going between the two of them as his eyes are shut to try and bring down and then draw it into his body to push down the gyron and start passing it through as etheric flows. The concept of etheric flows is something that the Bright College bangs on about. Each of the winds passes through the bodies in different ways, and most people, it happens at a low level and naturally. Wizards, you have got a significantly increased etheric flow, and all of these flows intersect and cross, which for most people it doesn't matter. If you're a bright wizard, you've just got a burning etheric flow that moves through you. The other little winds that may or may not be within you almost get purged as you're doing your casting. But for you, you've got two winds, and one of them is rising high, and Jade Wind rushing through your blood, throughout the entirety of your circulatory system, where the passion of the bright moving from the heart up from the mind and down through you and burning hard. If you've got both of them, oh well, to begin with, the sweats. That's not a good start. And the jitteriness. And the jitteriness calming until you, if anything, get taken over ever since you've left the Great Circle by the Jade Wind, which comes with a lustiness. It comes with a need to express yourself physically. It comes with an almost drunken state. You feel swollen and larger than life in multiple different ways, where the bright wind gets clogged and pushed to the side because it's risen so strong. Meditation, clear it out, let it go down. And it's possibly even the first time in his life where he's realized clearly the dangers of the green wind, because he's so used to worrying about the bright and how much it's done. Yeah. And the green wind, when rising strong, is dangerous. It changes your mood. It changes how you react, and eventually reaches the point where it swells and it becomes pustulant and overripe with life. It is at heart, at the very, well, it's at the very soul of one of the Chaos Gods. The Jade Wind gone wild, gone wrong. Yeah. Too much of a thing. Too much of anything is dangerous.
Yeah, leave the garden untended, it overruns.
Exactly. Yeah. And in this particular case, it's the red wind that is being overrun. Not great when you're trying to pose as a bright wizard. And it takes him longer than he would have liked, and longer than he expected, and is also a useful tool for him, because this is the first time he's had to combat it to bring himself back into balance.
He would have done his exercises without even thinking.
Yeah.
They were just, whatever, I'll get through them, but this would be the first in a long time where it's actually...
Sweat dribbling down. It's difficult. It's channeling actually test.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Crit.
Oh, I was going to make... let's see how many successes in total. Sweet!
6 successes in total.
Flames. And he's begun to no longer differentiate in the way that he used to when he first came to the colleges between the flows and the almost unseen aspect of the winds of magic and the material scene. To him, he's almost seeing them now with his eyes. Nice. He's reached a point now where he's seeing it clearly. He's not just sensing it. It's almost like a form of synesthesia. Because to begin with, when you're channeling magic, it's a completely different part of you that's doing it. You could imagine its hands stringing out different bits of magic. Yeah. You can imagine you're manipulating it, but you don't use your hands quite clearly. And you don't see it per se.
You see the effects.
Yeah, and you can feel it because you've got etheric senses that go beyond your 5 classical senses. But now the synesthesia is beginning to slip in with them. And the red wind, you can see these tight flows and the shimmer and the haze that comes off them. Super important because the edge twist of bright magic in an area which isn't associated directly with a fire. Let's say, for example, with an enraged person or someone who is simmering in the background but not showing any of it on their face. He's reaching the point now where he'll see that as a mirage sitting above them. When someone's angry, he'll just know because he's getting better with the bright wind. And as he's sitting here, actually concerned, feeling the rise of the jade wind, and for the first time possibly ever, half panicking as he realizes it's going to move out of control if he's not careful. And he's going to walk into this place as not a bright wizard, but a wizard swollen with jade. All of those old lessons start to click in. Magister Siegfried sitting down there and saying, "Boy, do this." And then sitting on the other side, Magister Mayor, "No, you need to be a little more careful. You've got to realize that when the winds rise, they have to be controlled." Little realizing that she was teaching you lessons that were not quite the lessons she thought. She was teaching you the lessons of how to keep Actuary from controlling you, but in turn, you're applying the same rigorous thought process to stopping the green wind from taking over and using the red wind to burn it out.
Yeah.
And there's a clenching of the fists, and it just burns down. And the green is stripped through from his foes as the fire settles in. And he can make of this what he wills. He feels better for it. Burning out the green.
Yeah, burning the control, I think, is what would,
as I say, make your own conclusions as to it. Getting rid of it at the end of it feels comfortable. It's gone. And you didn't realize how high it was making you. How quick to respond. Oh, it's interesting. Interesting because this, you can feel your leg jitter slightly. It's the rise of Actuary within you as you're holding it and you calm it. Calm it. Now directly applying the lessons of Mayor, putting them into place. You can hear the old lecturer sitting at the front. "Do it this way, dude." No one's paying attention. Lord Magister Feuerbach going, "And of course, you've got to be very careful about how one approaches life, because if you allow yourselves to indulge too deeply in the finer things of life, which could be almost anything, the old magic will begin to trickle up, and you won't notice, and then suddenly you will be doing something rather aggressive. Like, for example, slapping one of your friends at court." He says, "It may have happened, it may not." Enough for some people to look up and say, "Is he talking about something that happened?" And at the end of it, it feels really imbalanced, but good. And it's normally a sort of half strive to balance because he's always felt like the bright was burning through him. But it's almost the opposite here. He's burnt it out and he feels better for it. He's in control. He's in control. I'm ready for business.
Off to the city. Yeah, and he's gone because he has been dressing down a lot, but I think going into Kemperbad he'll wear who he is on his sleeve, quite literally.
Uniform on, out to the city. So Kemperbad, as we described already, a bunch of channels moving through, a bunch of waterfalls, surrounded by 3 walls. There's farmlands all the way around that as well, until eventually it reaches the trees, the same trees that eventually reach towards the Great Circle. And in the far off distance, the slight rising towards what will become the Barren Hills, quite some distance away. There is encampments all the way around the outside of the city. He makes his way along the paths that lead towards the main gates into Kemperbad. The main gates into Kemperbad stay open and are free to pass for all barges and those who come from barges. You get given yourself a wooden chit to show that you've come, which you pass over as you go through.
Okay.
So they take that chit. Yes, you clearly come from one of the barges. You're allowed in, but you're not going to be allowed in again without paying. But you're allowed in at least, and coming out carries no toll. You're always allowed to leave Kemperbad, but to get in, you got to pay. Kemperbad is, in some respects, as a flavour, somewhat like a mini Marienburg, in that the spirit of free enterprise lies in all things. There is that sense that anyone can make something of themselves here, and the old nobility system collapsed here hundreds of years ago. There are still nobles who claim parts of these lands and still receive taxes from Kemperbad, but they have absolutely no control. All of them live up in Altdorf or down in Null, and they may claim to be the Baron of somewhere or the Duke of somewhere else, but they have literally no actual material power here. It was long ago passed over by you don't know whom, but you know it occurred. It's a free city, which is, in and of itself, interesting. In tone, the people are different. In tone, they have, let's just leave it down to the simplest of brushstrokes, as we said earlier, a sense of self-determination. They can make something of themselves here, and that changes the tone. Now, Altdorf is the same, interestingly. Not that you experience much of it because you're mostly in the college, but for very different reasons. Nuln is the same for very different reasons. Almost anywhere that's well built up has that, but here it's smaller, slightly more intimate, and in many respects thus bubbles to the surface more cleanly. People are a bit more self-confident, but also they're more dickish. They're more likely to barge into you by the shoulder because they've got a sense of purpose and self-righteousness. They've got somewhere to go, gods damn it. There's a certain level of not respecting the hierarchy or the order of things, which does exist in the rest of the empire. Everyone knows their place. But here, everyone knows that they want to have a better place. And they feel that they should have it anyway. The spirit of capitalism is strong inside good old Kemperbad. As we say, large encampments on the outside, black tents sitting off towards the distance, down and amongst all the fields. The town itself has got its own state army troops, which are kicking around. They, like all of the provinces of Reichland, require to raise a certain amount of state army troops, which are sent to the Prince of Reichland, should he require them, and if the Prince of Reichland declares war, that's what's required. The chances of the Prince of Reichland declaring war is actually pretty low. There may be times of need, but the number of times that the Reichland has gone to war, you're aware, having studied warfare, is super low. Declared war about 100 years ago during one of the Great Greenskin invasions. Declared war against Bretonia. Except it wasn't Reichland, it was Ubersreich that declared the war. But they constantly appealed to the prince to declare war so they could get more down there to deal with Paravon on the other side. There was a declaration of war against Westerland, which is now the Wasteland. And that never really came to an end. It's still sort of in place. It never really stopped.
Yeah, but troops haven't really been called to
Nope, not at all. And they could potentially be called for that. Karl Franz might say, Westerland is up in arms, it's now time to take it down again. Or they could just end that state. It basically ended in a big sort of nothing there, and is much spoken about in the colleges of magic because it's one of the legal loopholes that the Prince of Reichland could use to call on the colleges, but they would need to lead into Westerland. Which means that if there was a particularly unique set of circumstances, they may attempt to do that at one point. Say a somewhat calculating prince. All at the back of his head as he makes his way into the city itself. Bustling, alive, there's bunting up in some places, so clearly some form of local festival going on somewhere, although that bunting only goes up for a few streets. Right. As you pass past one of the smaller, outlying, it's almost like it's made of little villages in the main town in the centre. And I presume you're heading over towards the main town in the centre. What's his plan?
So he is going to go to the main town. From what he knows of Engels, who lives in a fancy tower in the city, he's going to put two and two together and think Sybil probably will look for somewhere finer rather than slum it on the outskirts or near where the barges are. So yeah, he's going to go to the main town, look for a gathering of soldiers or anything like that, or maybe even people who when you're going into the town, there's a gate, right? There's
a main gate to get in from between the river where you stop. You roads over towards the main gate, through the main gate, a surrounding of almost villages, different districts around the main centre in the middle.
Yeah.
And you're aware that that's where major temples are. There's courthouses over there. Because it was discussed the last time you moved through, and Greta had to go over there to provide the correct paperwork for the barge. You're aware there's all manner of businesses and trading down near the cliffs where most of that is handled. And a lot of it is wheeled up the cliffs and then moved along some of the channels over towards the rivers.
Yeah.
So
there was like a toll that he could ask them at, but there won't be.
I mean,
so,
you can. There's guards at the
one.
Gate. You could easily just ask at the gate if you want to speak to any of the guards there.
Yeah, I think he will just kind of just say, "Excuse me."
Oh, right there. Let's see how it goes. Morning to you, Magister.
Morning.
Sorry. Evening. It's just I'm waking up. And you hear from him, it's because you're on duty. He says, I know.
I was told that time means nothing for a lot of people, so I'll take whatever you say. This might be a bit of a strange question because I believe a lot of the people are leaving now, but has there been any other arrivals of Magisters or people coming in from down south, from Nuln?
He says, I think you need to do yourself a gossip test and I'll do myself a quick what do I know?
I'm not good at gossip.
Everyone's got their weaknesses.
He still passed it.
Oh,
2 successes.
2? Yeah. 2's good. 2's genuinely decent.
He's hit a note with this guy.
Hey!
Yeah.
Good sesh so far. As he goes, right, well, it's funny you should say that. I was over on the South Gate, Griffin Gate, just 2 days ago. I think maybe she was coming in for sorting out any of the whatever they're doing at the court, because there's been a lot of trouble at the court about wizards.
I've heard a bit, yeah.
And she get. Wait a minute. Here, there's Cara, and here hey. That wizard that came from the south. What's her name? Goes, I don't know, you need to check over at the South Gate. Says, do you know where she went? Says, there's a wizard here looking for her. Looks at you. Yeah, he's looking for her.
Aye, a friend.
It's a friend, apparently. And says, she might have gone by Old Imperial. You know, she looked very fine. Old Imperial. All right, you want to know how to get there.
Please,
Right, just follow this road. It'll go right into the centre. When you see yourself the main courthouse, you'll recognise it. Big pillars. Go around that at the back, and you'll be at the back side of the Imperial. It actually faces out over towards the cliffs. Okay. So go in round there, round towards the back. There's a big space behind there as well, like an open courtyard. That's where they do all the judicial fighting and the like. So it's just there, Old Imperial. It's big. In fact, oh no, you can't quite see it, but it's over there.
Okay, I mean,
it's not too far.
You've given good directions. I'm sure I'll find my way.
You definitely won't fail the navigation test.
Oh, you. He definitely did fail the navigation test.
How many failed?
5 failures.
The directions seem seamless. How could you get it wrong?
Go to the cliff.
After about an hour of wandering around, bunting, people, busy centres, these are definitely the fluted pillared building that he was talking about. Going down round the side, now that should mean it's here towards my right. No, that's just a side street. Some kids, they're teasing him. He's used to that shit now. Moving on somewhere else. Yes, I'm a wizard. Ooh. Go over here. Oh shit, I'm hungry. Buy something for a vendor. Eat that. Drop yourself tuppence. Om nom nom. Om nom nom. Okay, this is really getting fucking annoying. Am I going to have to ask how to get this?
It's the worst.
Landmark. I'm going to have to ask. Gossip test.
Oh. Oh.
Is that a fumble?
That is a fumble.
Fortune point?
Yeah, he's kind of fortune pointed it.
Gives himself punched in the face. Wizard!
2 successes.
Oh!
That was a well-spent fortune point.
With 2 successes, if you spend threepence, you'll get yourself a little street guide.
First world problems here. I might have to break a silver. Whatever, threepence.
A girl. Young, can't be much older than about 12. And she's clearly barking on behalf of various different locations. And you approach her and ask where it is. And she's like, you give me threepence, I'll show you exactly where it is. I'll take you there. So I will.
Good, yeah.
Well, let's go then.
Lead the way.
He says, so you'll be a wizard then?
Aye.
Is there much money in that?
Enough to pay threepence for a guide.
Well, I've got the threepence and you don't.
Yeah, well, you probably could ask for more, but know that for next time.
Maybe I'll take you up on it. Because I could be a wizard. You know, she says she walks along the road.
If Elrick was quick enough, he would have made something happen, but... Off to the colleges.
I was joking. I was only joking. And there it is. The old Imperial. You passed this building.
It's fine.
Yep.
It's fine.
You passed this building. To make matters even worse, you almost spoke to the chap that's sitting out the front, but you didn't because you thought he looked like the type who would be perhaps somewhat bigoted concerning who you are. It's not an unfair assumption because he looks at you a little bit like you are a ghost.
Evening by now? Definitely probably into late evening.
Yep.
Evening, fella.
Good evening, sir. Is there nothing I know?
Yeah, I'm inquiring on a guest of the building.
Well, I should fetch the concierge. We have a rule in place. No fire wizards. We had some issues in the past.
Oh, just fire wizards.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
So, if you could please not burn anything, I'll just fetch the concierge.
He'd better be quick. I sometimes...
Well, calm down, he says as he moves off. Goes in, rings a bell. Hurry! It's a bloody fire wizard, sir! And you hear from inside, do calm down. Don't put your issues before the rest of the... As a relatively finely dressed gentleman comes out. All dark colours, big puffy shoulders. Red slashes. Oh.
Hi.
He says, is there something I can help you with, sir? I must make an apology. We're not allowed to take in anyone from the Bright College by order of the management.
No, that's fine. It's fine. I'm not looking to stay.
You might be able to see why.
What's there?
4th floor, there's just a big black crater in the side of the building.
Recent?
That was about 2 years ago. It was contained, but the cost involved. Further, the management likes the reminder.
Right. So I imagine Gorman wouldn't be paying for that. Anyway, I'm not looking to stay. I'm not even looking to come in. I'm just inquiring on a potential guest that you may have. Someone I'm looking to have a chat with.
And is this guest expecting you?
She should be, yeah.
Do you have a name?
Sybil, Magister Sybil.
What order?
Celestials.
The other one.
Was it Magister? Or was it Grand? Whatever, doesn't matter.
The other one's sitting back. Just looks at you. He's not exactly quiet as the concierge turns around and says, just be calm. And then walks in.
Elrick will try. Were you there when it happened? Is that why? Did you get burned? Oh, and he'll. Oh no, he's not wearing sleeves because he just has like, "Hi, I've been burned. I know it's not great."
And he points down towards his buttocks.
Oh. Is it weird? But did it kind of smell a bit nice?
He looks really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Concierge comes out and says, word has been sent. It says, might I suggest that you avail yourself of the, and he gestures across the road, facilities over there, the threefold stone would make, I think, a good place for you to meet. It is an inn, but more importantly, it is willing to accept, and indeed often accepts, people from your order should they be visiting.
Yeah. If she knows I'll be there, I'm happy to wait.
Good day, sir.
Appreciate your help.
Well done. Pats the big guy in there. The threefold stone is an odd inn. First, it's part of a building rather than the separate building itself, perhaps stacked beside others. Part of the building is painted separate and clearly has an almost upside down L-shaped part that is it because it's painted up, and there's another separated painted bit on the inside. But on the inside, it's almost all flat stone on the ground with no scattering of hay or straw or mulch or anything else. And the walls are all bare stone also on the bottom floor. Up above, scorched timbers. The innkeeper, who is in an inn without anybody inside the main hall, empty, has half a beard, and the other half of his face looks like it's received something hot at some point in his past. It leaves his face a bit off on one side because it's melted by the edge. He does have one eyebrow, curiously, on the other side of his face to where the beard is, and the other eyebrow on this side is half melted off, leaving a half melted scar down that side of his hair also. He also has a small rune of actuary sitting above his eyebrowless eye. As he looks up and he goes, "Well, but isn't it Magister?"
Evening.
He says, "You're looking for a room?"
No, I'm just looking for a place to wait for a while.
He says, "We want a drink while we're waiting."
Yeah, of course.
He says, "Got a stout?"
Yeah, I'll have one here.
And he pours you out a drink.
I've got a fancy one, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Or you've even got your special one.
Which is the special one?
Your special one from Schaffenfest.
Oh yeah, I was
thinking 12.
I was thinking the one. Didn't Gerhardt get us all fancy ones as well?
No, he got you Schaffenfest.
Was that the Schaffenfest? Yeah, that's the one he pulls out.
Big, huge, cheap.
Oh wait, does
stain.
he? Because does he want to be known that he was in Bugan?
Does he care? Because it's awesome.
Fuck it. Yeah.
Schaffenfest 12, bang! He looks at it. That's quite the stone you got there.
He's commemorative. It's meant to be a big festival this year. Go on ahead.
He says, "Have yourself a seat. Sit here. You down from the college?"
No, I've not been to college now for a while. I'm just here to meet a magister from a different order, but they wouldn't let me in to where she's staying.
He says, "I'm paid by the city to run this place. I am." He says, "Look after folks like yourself. There's enough of you visiting, you know. There's a lot of talk of a lot of people see this as a neutral ground, you see.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a nice sweet spot sitting here, as it does between Markland, Talbotland, all the way down south to Stirland way. And we get quite a lot of diplomatic incidents, if you know what I'm saying. And because the word incident is attached, they often come hand in hand with their old fire wizards, if you know what I'm saying. No one wants to keep them because there's been a couple of problems in the past, so they pay me just to run this place. I'm a bit afraid that this place might go under now. Have you heard the news?
I've heard a bit. I've heard not allowed to stay here anymore. Or
well, I'm hoping that I've heard wrong, but I heard that they might not be allowed to stay at all. I'm not sure about that. That's my business, that is.
Well, I mean, they let me in. I don't know if
that's good. That's good.
Going to be true.
I'm off to have a petition with the Burgomaster tomorrow. I'm going to be sitting down with him, and he's going to be telling me exactly what's what. And I'm a little bit afraid he's going to be pulling me funds. I'm a little bit afraid.
You must be paid well, because
I'm paid all right.
Not a lot of people would be willing to host the brides, especially And he looks to all like the
Well,
wrecked...
it's because of the aforementioned issues. It often turns a little bit fraught, and they wanted somewhere to contain it all, and that's what I happened to offer, something that contains it all. I was like yourself, trained in college, didn't quite make it.
No,
but I was determined to be safe, so no perpetual apprenticeship for me.
No,
Kicked me out
off,
in the end.
Better off.
Well, you think so? Well, I liked those years. I did. Well, I liked them. They were good years.
I've seen some of the perpetuals, and
well, you're not allowed to leave the college at all, are you? No. Well, yeah. Yeah. You go by the 7 keys on your way out? 7 keys.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's the whorehouse that sits on the outside, yeah. I went by there. They turfed me out. Well, I wasn't good enough for them. I was like, I got good coin. They were like, nah, off you go.
Oh, no. Oh, so it's not that you were going to work. It was...
No.
Just not.
No.
Oh, that's even more disappointing.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking about it for years, I was in that college for 5 years, and it was almost like that golden, golden dawn that you had, or sunset perhaps, of what was finishing off and all that. And I was looking forward to it more than I can possibly talk about, because you're just surrounded, well, where I was in the apprentice hall, surrounded by fellas, nothing but fellas. All the girls be fucked off in another tower, didn't they?
Aye, yeah. Just one tower.
I mean, there were, there's one or two, they'd swap around and you'd meet off in the heptagram, and some folks would sneak off, as you do. But, yeah, I was looking forward to it more than you can mention. And I got turfed out. Sorry, not for you, Gov. Fuck off.
Well, life sometimes has these moments. Character building, as you might say.
Oh, character building, character destroying, whatever. And the door bursts open. And there is a woman there. She's about 6'6". No, she's not. She's just got very big hair. Piled high.
He's used to tall people.
Woof,
like no big deal.
She's not that tall.
Yeah.
She's exceedingly buxom with a big long blue dress. And she goes, "My name is Philonia Pearls, Lady Magister of the Celestial Order. You must be the visiting wizard." She says, "What the fuck?" He says under his breath as he looks round. "Evening. And you are?"
"I'm Elrick Grunfeld."
"Yes, I was told that you would be here." She says, "You may come with me. Unfortunately," she says, "there was business in Null, apparently some unfortunate business, meaning that I have been sent to speak with you. Unfortunate indeed, meaning I have had to travel halfway across the Reichland for what seems to be a fool's errand, but here I am. If you didn't catch it, my name is Philonia Pearls." She says, "Lady Magister of the Celestial Order. Now please come with me. I do not like the smell of this place. It smells of death." Charmed.
It smells fine.
Charmed. "Let us go somewhere nice. There's a good place to eat near here, an eatery." She claps her hands. And you hear a clop, 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 clop. The drawing over of a coach.
Yeah. He'll begin to walk out, and when he gets next to her, just... "And forgive me, but who sent you?"
Says, "I shall not be discussing it here, where the others can hear. Let us say it was Null business, and it was, of course, the advisor to the Countess of Null," she says, and then climbs up into the coach. "Come on."
So he has no clue who Sybil was.
Literally no idea at all. Apparently she expects you to know.
Yeah. Warily. Who's driving the carriage?
The chap dressed in blue. He's got himself a wig on that hangs down past his ears. And a long nose who just sits there looking down at you. The woman herself is probably in her 50s, you'd guess.
Yeah. But just one man. Okay. Yeah, right. He'll climb up.
So she settles in the coach at the opposite side, looks at you, and says, "You are much younger than I expected."
I'm told I'm unusual as a.
She looks at you. "I was expecting somebody, I don't know, carrying a large sword and shouting and barking orders or something. The last time I met someone of your order, they were most strident. You appear to be much less strident. They don't appear to understand the finer points in life. You know, how to be calm and quiet, she says.
I'm still learning, so...
Good,
maybe...
I'm glad to hear that. Now, just in case you didn't catch it, my name is Philonia Pearls. Please, Lady Magister Pearls. She goes, please, go!
So, again, Mrs. Pearls, was it?
Lady Magister Pearls, and if you get it wrong again, you will be sent forth without any tutelage on the matters celestial. I do not like being sent on this chore.
Sent by, you wouldn't say earlier?
Well, I already told you who I was sent by.
No.
Were you not listening?
You
Right, let us repeat it one more time. My name is Lady Magister Philonia Pearls, and I have been sent here by the advisor to the Countess of Nuln. Really?
But you'll have to forgive my ignorance in terms of I know who the Countess of Nuln is.
She just looks at you.
But I don't know her advisor. So a name.
What difference does it make to you?
Well,
I am here to do a particular duty. If you have no interest in it, stop! She calls. Coach.
It's just, I've had some...
You may leave!
I may leave. You have to understand, I've had some bad things.
Oh! She says, oh, you dreadful wizards of the Red Order, you're always so objectionable. Can't you just simply accept the nature of things as they are? Why do you have to argue with everything? My name is Lady Magister Philonia Pearls. Lady Magister, I rank you. You be quiet. You may go, she calls. And you may be quiet.
Let's do the next hour. Just Elric sullenly kicking his feet.
It's not very long. It's all of about 10 minutes worth of clip clopping until the coach draws up by a restaurant. She comes out after the door is opened by her coachman and goes, is this the place, really? Is this the best they have to offer? Well, I suppose this will have to do. You may follow. And she walks in, opens it up. Excuse me, my name is Philonia Pearls, Lady Magister of the Celestial Order, and you will immediately find me a seat.
Looks like there probably is plenty of seats.
Staff looks at her and says, do you have a booking? I'm not sure you heard me. My name is Lady Magister Philonia Pearls of the Celestial Order, and you will find me somewhere where I may sit down with my companion from the Bright Order of Magic. We are going to have a meal, and we are going to discuss some matters, and you are going to provide us somewhere we can sit. Everybody now in the eatery is like this. She's a quiet woman. That much is clear.
Subtle.
Everyone. She looks at him. Come, chop, now! And he says, it's just, says, do I have to speak to the owner? He says, it's just the, fetch him! Now! Oh, he runs off.
Oh, she's the worst.
Everyone sort of stops him. Then they start gossiping. And she goes, oh, really? Does he not realise who I am?
They probably don't. Maybe just say your name again.
She says, do be quiet. You're far too noisy. Everyone will be looking at us. She says, she looks out over the room. See? A woman, somewhat stout, comes out and says, hey, you want to talk to me? Yes. She says, my name is Lady Magister Philonia Pearls of the Celestial Order, of House Halswig Schleston. Get me a table. Oh, yes, ma'am. And a table is cleared. Someone's literally turfed out. She just sits there, watches them go. And is led over. You just want to sit here, Mum? About time. You may sit. She looks at you. Sit.
Yeah, he'll sit down.
Good. She looks at you. What is your name? I wasn't given your name other than Elrick.
Elrick Grunfeld.
Oh, Grunfeld. Perish be to the gods themselves. Sigma will have to preserve me through this terrible toil.
Such is life, eh?
And you're in the bright order, really?
I
imagine you must hate it. She says, I've met many of your family and none of them like the orders particularly much. You must particularly despise it. The bright wind, she says, is unkind to your type.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
Good. Well, we'll see, shan't we? She says, you may order anything you want. Menus, please. We would like a bottle, and looks at you. Red wine, please. And I should like, let me see your stock. Come on, bring me the list. She looks at it. This is the best you have? Really? No, I would like you to go out and speak to my man on the coach and tell him to bring out the Reserve 32. We're dealing with a bright wizard here, not a child. Really? Go on. Go.
Elric put his tankard on the table.
So, Grunfeld, I imagine you don't have much in the way of manners from the forests, are you? Or are you raised in the courts? You're either making a point, or alternatively, you were raised in the forests.
I was raised in the forest.
Forest it is. That doesn't surprise me, given your general attire.
It's the uniform.
Yes, well, one can make choices concerning one's uniform, and you've certainly made a choice. It depends how you wish to appear and how you wish to present yourself. You clearly wish to present yourself in the way that you have.
As do you, my lady.
Well, of course. There are certain things that have to be done. We all have our place. You clearly wish to move yourself from one place to another. I see no reason to do that. Contradicting the social order in such a fashion leads to unfortunate choices. It leads to making poor decisions. It leads to people feeling that they do not need to follow the social order. And when that happens, quickly, corruption follows. If you wish to lead yourself into such footsteps, then do so. And do so with humour, I suggest. Because clearly that would be your preference, Grunfeld that you are. Grunfelds are the same. She says, stereotyping you like mad. She pulls out a book. Rifles through it. Oh, most unfortunate business.
Well, we can just get it over with.
That is my plan. But there is no reason not to get ourselves some good food while we're here. And here's our menus. Do you know how to order?
So I should just ask for recommendations. Like there's a special.
She smiles. Do yourself a charm test.
Oh. Attractive?
That does pay off.
No.
As she looks at you, you are much less charming than you think you are.
No, I know how charming I am. Do they have stew?
You will not be having stew.
Could I have a deconstructed stew? I travel with a noble. He talks about these kind of things.
Who do you travel with?
My employer.
Yeah. Who?
Well, we're not doing names.
I am your superior. Yes. Who?
Out of character. Is she a superior, though?
If she's nobleborn, then certainly a superior. If she's from the
but
Imperial line,
in Kemperbad.
If she's... doesn't matter, nobility still stands. It's just they don't rule. The social status still exists. So the answer is yes.
Right.
Strictly.
He's going to have to lie.
That's what lies are for.
Who's the boat registered under? What's the name?
It's registered under all of the people who've got their names on it. It's not, but as in the company name.
Yeah.
The company name is, I think, the Jaegers. It's just the Hunters, the company name.
Yeah. He's not going to give the Jungfreud name.
Yeah,
he's going to
totally.
give basically, the Jaegers, the barge that's owned.
The Jaeger family. Really? You're working for mercantile concerns?
Yeah, they employed me. I was doing my apprenticeship. I was Roman, which is rare. I don't know if you know, but they don't usually let them out. I was.
You were allowed out for. Might I inquire as to why? Grunfeld?
I think I'm kind of a big deal to them because I was good. They weren't worried about me blowing anything up.
Did you?
Well, I didn't, but an inn did burn down. But that was someone else.
Yes. He'll have this. I'll have that. Where is the one? And there's some discussion out there. You tell them to fetch the wine. Runs off. Looks at you. She looks at her book and looks at you. Well, given the fact that the lady advisor to the Countess of Null has sent me here, there is certainly something to consider regarding you. But the question is what? As she writes, and then looks at you. Elrick, Grunfeld, this is the date. Very good. The bottle comes out. Oh no. My crystal, please. Eventually, crystal, tankard. And it's so pungent, strong and spicy. Very spicy.
Similar to the fancy one Gerhard brought him.
Similar is probably the best word. It's not the same.
No.
It's a much more pungent, fragrant wine, and smells spiced rather than necessarily hot.
Mm-hmm.
But you haven't tasted it yet, so you're not quite certain. But definitely,
well, they say most of the taste is in the smell, Andy.
Yeah.
By sommelier.
Its aroma may not match its flavor, but it smells right. And she, well, she says, to whatever you do or do not manage to succeed.
Cheers. Yeah. Is it like a fine? No, he's in his tankard, so he'll slam his tankard and.
It hits you. Oh shit! It's strong. Oh. Much stronger than you expected. She sips it. Endurance test.
Oh, he's good at that.
Yeah, he's a good drinker, is our Elrick.
Yeah.
Normally.
4 successes.
Good as. A lot hotter than you expected. The alcoholic sting mixing with actual heat. They've got heat in this somehow. Not just spiciness. It feels hot. Actual hot. You can't help but be a bit stunned.
Stare at the tankard to look and see, is it magical in any way? No.
Do yourself a perception test. Yeah.
No, fuck. Fail.
Looks like a tankard to you.
In my favor. 1 crit and then.
Yeah, that's it. It's all gone downhill from there. Looks like a Gosh, it's good though.
Yeah, I think he'll probably sip it more now rather than gulp
it's
it.
Good. It is an acquired taste, she says. A taste I have yet to fully acquire, but I'm over the course of time getting there. Who was your master of apprentices during your time? Matrius Siegfried.
No, it was not Tuberman.
Tuberman was the but he was not. There's ranks.
Okay.
Tuberman runs the hall. But Matrius Siegfried was the one who was pretty much dealing with everything. The master of apprentices. But at the top.
Yeah. He's the one who worked through the block.
Yeah, correct. You could name either.
If he had known the difference, he would name Siegfried.
Yeah. Because he's the one who actually did everything. Literally everything.
Yeah,
Tuberman makes the top rule decisions and occasionally shouts at people. It says, Matrius Siegfried. He's now working in the College of Master of Apprentices. How fascinating.
Last time I was there. Yeah.
Oh, how is the old boy? Last I saw him was... where was it? It was in the Grey Mountains, when we were dealing with an unfortunate incursion of goblins. He and we found ourselves right on the front line, fought back to back for almost 2 days. Now, that was a difficult time, it must be said, but we don't talk about the more successful invasions.
Would he have to place this in terms of lore warfare?
Lore warfare is going to give you not that particular one. Classic battles that are used to teach.
Yeah.
That's more lore warfare's general province.
And
obviously how to conduct war.
Yeah. And in the colleges you wouldn't have things like Magister served and such and such.
Lore Bright College, sadly, is where that all sits.
It's not in my career, Andy. It's not in my career.
That'll be the Lore Any slot.
Well, I chose lore magnets, so that's on me.
Magnets are my way. As he was young once too.
Yeah. As far as I've always known him, he's been a good man. He's
Magister Siegfried is a good man. He is somewhat like most of your order, hasty, quick to choose. I would suggest unconventional paths. That is not to discredit him.
No,
quite the opposite. To his credit.
That might be why he worked so close with me. His unconventional methods are what helped me through.
If it wasn't for him, we would have taken a far more martial approach to how we dealt with the Greenskins. In the end, of all things, it was a landslide that won it for us. We took down half a mountainside to crush most of the horde. He and I at the top, where my position at that point was to assault it from the front. It seemed to be the only way to hold it at the pass. Siegfried took a different option, and it was a wise one. I'm glad to hear that you have had at least some sensible tutelage. It makes an unfortunate representation of him, though, that you should be so insolent, and purposely so.
Oh, that's all me. That's nothing to do with him.
Of course it's to do with him. He's the one that trained you. If you can't hold your insolence, that's on him. And I shall be writing a letter to him to say that you are a poor example of his tutelage, and that is his fault. That is part of this whole process. We judge you as we judge the college and those who trained you. That is what I am here to do. I'm scoring you to see whether you're worthy of becoming a magister. And so far, you are not scoring well. And if you are unworthy of becoming a magister, then you will be sent to the front line because you have nothing left of use for the college. We all know how it works. They might pretend it works otherwise, but we all know how it works.
I think more people will find themselves in the front line sooner than they think.
You have a clever word for everything. Grumfeld?
No, I don't.
Really?
Yes.
Thank you. Food is placed down. You have got yourself. Wow. No meat at all.
Nice.
You were expecting her to order meat. She equally has no meat. She's ordered you veggies. Lots of veggies, cooked with a variety of sauces, which are laid out neatly at the sides, almost like rows of, you don't know, corn perhaps?
You look at her when he picks one up with his hand.
She smiles. I don't care how you eat any way you want, she says as she picks up her cutlery.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god, it tastes good.
Nice, very good.
Oh my fucking god, that tastes good. She's taking you somewhere pretty fucking good. Is it to your taste? You're Grunfeld. I expected this would be more to your preference.
It's very good.
There is nothing wrong with being polite to your guests, in the same way there is nothing wrong with being polite to those who are guesting you.
I take your point.
Good, she says. I'm glad to hear that. We have several tests that we have to conduct. And perhaps you'll do well, perhaps you won't. You certainly have arrogance. More arrogance than most of your family, which I find interesting. Very interesting.
Have you made a lot of them?
Who is your mother, if you may ask?
My mother was, you might say, Kira or Kiara, but I'd say Kira.
Don't know. That's unfortunate. And she raised you?
I'm just making sure. Was it? Yeah. Who took her?
Doctor's grandfather. That's the grandfather. Mother.
Yeah. Sorry, say again?
And she raised you?
No.
Who raised you?
Maven.
The Witch of the Wood?
Among many things, yeah.
Well, that would make sense. That would make much more sense.
I was her best student.
And you'll find yourself in the Bright College, curious.
Well, yeah, until she cast me out.
To the Bright College.
I didn't really have a choice.
Witch of the Wood. Let us finish our food, she says, and her face falls somewhat more calm. Clearly she's thinking as she eats.
Wolf tails down.
Sips at her wine. It's an acquired taste, all right. That's really an acquired taste, but it's worth learning to acquire these things should you ever find yourself in such a situation where drinking such a thing becomes important. You can almost see her thought process. She's gaining skills, arguably, making the best of the situation.
You can drink something else if you'd prefer.
I would not prefer. She says, we can't do our business here. We're going to have to go out of the city walls. Are you prepared? Do you feel ready?
As I'll ever be.
Good, she says. Very good. I've taken my notes. I will write my letter later, she says as she closes her book. Finish your wine and I shall finish mine.
Just down it.
As the she, with a squint in her face. Right. Let us leave. Okay, so she makes her way over. Who
paid?
Drops 10 crowns.
Oh.
At the desk and says, "Good day," and leaves. As the pair of you go out, the owner who's been watching the back, Reik's face lights up.
Fucking nobles.
They're so fucking rich.
Yeah.
She had a meal that was about, you'd expect, in money terms, around about 100 quid, and she just dropped 2,500 approximately.
Yeah.
She's pretty
Was there stuff
tipped.
left in the wine bottle?
Yeah.
Oh, I could have swiped the wine
Feel
bottle.
free to take it.
Yeah.
She's not going to stop you.
It goes right back.
Wait. Interestingly, the top of the bottle, which had its cork, is all waxed. You could very easily just flip it over and wax seal it on the top with a quick melt.
So you'll do.
Feeling clever? Do yourself a channeling test just to make sure you don't fly.
8 successes.
Superb. You can take your time. A very careful twisting of actually into it, melting it around in a circle so it doesn't melt it. Just enough. And then enough heat on the wax so it breaks off. And you're feeling pretty proud of yourself. No. That was well done.
Into the pocket.
Down to the back. Nice.
Waste not, want not.
Lady Magister Philonia Pearls, that's her name, by the way, in case you missed it, leads you back to her coach and steps up into it and waits for you to do the same.
Yeah, you just go right up.
It's closed. Chap goes up and the coach pulls away. She doesn't even need to tell it where to go. Maybe she did while you were doing your little thing. And she looks at you and says, Elrick Grumfeld, was it of the Bright Order? You are presented to me to discuss matters concerning one of your keys of mystery. This is to determine whether you are capable of moving within your order. As a magister, your order, uniquely amongst the orders of magic, relies upon the other colleges to judge its members because you are so tempestuous and in the past have been responsible for starting wars. Your members are curtailed and held in place by order of the Supreme Patriarch, Rima Shemtek.
Who?
Supreme Patriarch Rima Shemtek.
I don't know who that is. I know of Gorman being the patriarch.
Oh no, this happened over a century ago. By order.
Oh right, I thought you meant like still standing in this.
It's a still standing order.
But the person isn't.
Oh no, he died a long time ago. He was a patriarch of my order, actually. Celestial, our first patriarch of the order. And she looks down at her book, pulls it out, opens a page, and says, today we are going to be testing several matters. One is your character. One is your capability of perceiving and stopping incoming spells from my order. We shall be executing a host of simple and more complicated spells which will be directed directly at you. If you do not successfully stop them, well, that is your problem to deal with.
Aye, it'll hurt.
Yes, it may. Further, you will be demonstrating your ability to get past my defenses. All magic should be non-lethal, but that does not mean it won't hurt. I have dealt with several of your order in the past. I have no great concerns. Nevertheless, she says, be careful.
I always try.
Good. We can ask for nothing more. This is a demonstration of skill, not lethality.
Mm-hmm.
She says, now, I'm going to have to see on full demonstration 5 spells that you have already prepared from your grimoire. Are you prepared to offer 5 separate spells?
5 non-lethal spells.
It would be preferable they were non-lethal, but at least 2 of them will have to be targeted upon myself.
Let me just pull up my list.
Excuse me, I reference my memory.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll have cantrips.
Not cantrips, spells.
Okay, so he needs to go to the big book.
It's the big book.
There's not a lot of non-lethal ones here.
Yeah, non-lethal, you say. I'm kind of an elemental wizard.
Yeah, so he's got what? Armor, smoke cloud, shield.
Shield, that's 3 non-lethal already. And then
yeah, I could. Does she carry a weapon?
She has a staff with her,
no
but
sword.
It's sitting here. She isn't carrying a sword in her hand.
Yeah. So I could light my sword on fire. And then do firewall, which will be off in the distance.
Perfect.
Yeah.
At least 2 of them have to target me. Can 2 of them target me?
But
you're leafing through your grimoire this time.
Yes.
Yeah. Can they?
I don't think so. Armor actually should be able to do it, and shield should. Target me. Armor, target me. So the only ones I can target her with are actual lethal spells.
Say so.
Yeah. I'm afraid my talents of what I've been taught by my master only really go...
Bloody bright wizards. They are supposed to have... Your order was under express orders to massage the curriculum to ensure that this could be done safely. This is not the first time I shall be having words with... Who is currently the Lord of the Apprentice Tower?
Tuberman. Tuberman's still there.
Is he still alive?
Well, he's not able to fight anymore, so all he does is sit there and bark at people.
Intuition test.
5 successes.
She's genuinely horrified. Genuinely horrified. She's holding it as a stunned look, but genuinely horrified. You also catch her eyes flicking downwards to her hand, and then back towards you.
Have you had a run-in with him before?
You might say that. So what spells do you intend to cast? I need to take a record of it.
I will cast on my sword, Flaming Sword of Ruin.
Flaming Sword of Ruin. After that's, as I recall, a spell created by Supreme Patriarch Ruin. Yes,
Aye.
and?
I'll also cast...
See, they can massage the curriculum. That was not part of the original curriculum as laid down by Teclis.
I don't know. I'll cast Armor of Akshi.
Furious. Armor of Akshi. Now, that's part of the standard curriculum, I believe.
Yeah. I'll cast Shield of Akshi.
Good.
Again, won't be of any danger.
Good.
Then I'll cast Smoke Cloud.
I've not seen that spell. That should be interesting.
And then just because it's the one I've probably cast the most, I'll do a Fireball or 2.
Well, of course. Well, if you could aim it in my direction rather than directly at me.
Yeah, just approximate.
Right. She says, the coach slows down and there's a opens it up. Everything's prepared, Mum. And says, good, is my apprentice there? Yes, Mum. Right, perfect. Looks at you. Well, let's see how well we proceed then.
Just point me in the direction.
Half an hour later, you're out in the middle of nowhere. It's dark. Above you, Mansleeb is almost but not quite full.
So it's where Akshi is at its weakest.
It is. That's why she chose it.
Yeah.
And with all the stars in the sky and the moon's up, Celestial's at its strongest.
Yeah.
When the wind has lowered itself away from the big blue skies up above and it's slowly sunk down. The point where she is arguably at her most powerful. She's testing you, after all. She doesn't want to get herself hurt. And she says, you may come out. Consider it a theatre of war. We are more, however, stones than we are actual play pieces upon a real battlefield. A representation of the greater danger that you may face at some point. There's apprentice! And, you want to call him a boy, but he might be older than you. But he has the look of a boy. He's a bit gangly. His hat is sitting a little bit ahoy. The blue feathers sitting off a little bit rakish as he comes over and says, yes, Mom. Yes, Mom. I everything is prepared. And she looks at him. I find that somewhat unlikely. Apprentice, I would like you to meet Elrick Grumfeld, Wizard of the Bright Order. And he says, right, well, is that actually the right way? Excuse me, apprentice. Just because he is a wizard and you're an apprentice does not mean he outranks you. You are still a lord of the realm. Goodness gracious, you must keep up with everything. He does not outrank you, but he, as a wizard, is higher ranked than you, which is really quite different. Now, when it comes to matters of war, in the battlefield, he is a lieutenant, and you are but a sergeant. Do you understand? Right, yes, of course, Mom. It's just, my father made me a captain. Says, your father no longer has control of you. The Celestial Order does, in particular myself. So if you wish to back-chat me, I'm really sorry, Mom. Says, as you should be. I apologize for my apprentice.
Do you want me to aim at him? Or around him?
Blanches. Oh. Yes. As he goes, oh, I'm very sorry. I have everything prepared exactly as you intend. Well, perhaps you should have been a little more careful with your studies up to this point. Just because you have duties to do does not mean that you should not be paying attention to your studies. I apologize, Mom. Good. I would like you to run over there to point 4. Yes, Mom. As he runs in a not entirely athletic way.
Yeah.
Makes his way over there. And eventually comes to a halt, looking incredibly happy with himself. The celestial wind is at its strongest at different points of the day. At high noon, when the sky is blue, it soars high in the sky and is especially strong there. But at night, the wind dissipates and falls and causes a great haze that manipulates the stars to those of us with the sight. And that is what you are first to do. He says, I prepared a chart of the stars. She reaches into the coat, pulls out from underneath the seat, a long scroll, and rolls it. I should like you to look at that chart. She looks up. 2 of the stars are misplaced. Which 2? That is where they should be. That is where they are. Which 2 are misplaced? If you wish, apprentice, bring your telescope. Oh. Pulls out his telescope, passes it over. That may aid. The closer you can see, the more you might be able to detect the movement of the wind. Or you can try doing it with your naked eye. Off you go, back to that point.
Stubborn Elrick will try naked eye. Because memory, he absolutely smashed the celestial winds in his testings.
He did very, very well last time.
So he'll have that bit of confidence in it.
This looks like it's first. Do you have or astronomy? Nah. Not a strong point. So he's going to pretty much have to eyeball this. Holding his chart. Okay. Yeah, you're going to need a little bit more light.
My
shoulders are going to need to go on. How do we need to find a major star grouping. Okay, it's in Reichspiel.
No, he has navigation. So in terms of like there'd be a
main star groupings, you'll know. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Right, so there's the Limner's line. You've got it. It's always good as a wizard to work from the Witchling star. It's a big empty gap. Good point. Right there. You've got it. And that is it. Oh, there's almost 100 stars on this. This is going to take a little bit of time. And indeed it is. It is an extended test, needing a certain number of successes. It's on perception, but it's difficulty 2.
Okay.
And you need 10 successes. The number of successes you score on the last test is the number of successes you've got overall for the test.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't roll very well on that test, because it's extended, you can just keep on looking, taking a little bit more time, and roll again. Problem is, if you fumble, you lose everything you have.
Yeah.
Each test takes half an hour.
Okay.
It takes time.
So it's at least 5 hours?
That's potentially that, yes, depending on how well you roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might crit.
Let's have a look.
Further, there might be benefits if you have a telescope.
I think
first test
Dan
least.
would say, oh yeah, totally use a telescope. Nah, Elrick will not. And then he'll probably like...
Maybe after a test or two go, maybe the telescope makes sense.
If the actual Celestials use them, then it makes sense. But for now...
Number 1, go for it.
3 successes.
So he starts on 3.
I'll track this with...
it's okay, I'm tracking for you, so you don't need to worry about it.
And then he doesn't have advantage because he's not competing.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You can settle down, take your time, and you do have advantage.
Oh, cool. Sweet.
You are taking your time.
So then that'll be 5 successes.
All right. Is that so a total of 8?
Yeah. And then 6 successes.
Oh, well done. So that would give you 6 successes for your last roll. You happy with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty decent.
With the naked eye?
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Pretty decent. As you sit there and you're pretty convinced after about an hour and a half, and you have been squinting so fucking hard up at the sky, looking down. Right. You think, pretty convinced that the edge of the greased goat, the star that's its back foot, that one, you would guess is off by, it's a tiny amount up in the sky, but you're convinced that it's off according to this chart. The other one, oh, that one's right down at the bottom, outside of the main celestial path where the zodiac passes across the sky. Right down low. You don't know what that one's called at all. Looking down there, apparently, according to this, it's called the brown cow. Really? The brown cow? In fact, you notice that most of the names are very simple. It's probably an apprentice sheet. They're giving it very simple names for kids to remember. Yeah. It's a kid's one.
It's the ones that he knows as well.
Yeah. So that one there, right down by its teat, that one is off by as much as that looking up. Mm-hmm. Quite some distance off. The easiest of the two. That's the two to point out. Brown cow down at the bottom. Greased goat. Rear foot.
So that's what I think anyway.
She looks at it. Greased goat. 7C. And down here, you're marking out 23F.
Yeah.
She smiles. You have done as well as I would hope an apprentice would do. Or indeed anyone of any of the orders. Indeed, there are 73 stars out of alignment. She says, currently, at least. It takes charts amongst my order to properly understand what that means. Our order is all about mathematics. The mathematics and the displacement, exactly how much differentiation the wind has made, and certain precognitions can be made from this. The wind carries knowledge. And this is something that is not often understood. It is inspiration. It is an understanding of what is to come. And if you find yourself in an area where there is a significant amount of azir, first be aware that that can be dangerous. Our wind comes much like your wind, with a certain level of heat, but ours is faster, sharper, a bolt from the blue. Inspiration strikes. The current chart, which I did yesterday, and I assume it is much the same, I may have maybe 72 or 74. On a day-to-day basis, it rarely changes much. But our current chart is, as you say, heading towards warfare.
Aye, and I'd say probably been a lot of changes in recent times.
Yes, well, the stars have been difficult to track. Might I also say, so you understand, what we view changes locally. So what will be seen in Aldor is different to what will be seen in Null, which is why it is important to get a proper view of everything that happens in the Empire as a whole, that we have towers everywhere, so that we can properly make assessments as to what will occur in each part of the Empire. The readings that are done here in Kemperbad will be quite different to those that are done in Nuln for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. Nuln, for example, is in a period of peace. Kemperbad here, now,
precipice,
is not. And that, I think, can be made quite clear by what lies just 1 mile in that direction. Did you see them? Pointing over towards where you saw the encampment when you were very first coming in.
Yeah, it was this... No, it wasn't the elves, was it there?
No, you're not sure who it is.
There was something, yeah.
Trot's Marauders.
Ah.
3,000 of them, camped right out there, under the employ of the Burgermeister.
Do you think Kemperbad might be about to rebel?
I don't think it has the capacity to do so, but I think it's certainly looking to protect itself against any potential incoming battles. They sense warfare, they've hired something to protect themselves. They are perhaps not unwise to sense warfare. Next. Apprentice, I would like you to organize a half-arc moon and play it over in that direction. Right, yes, of course. He closes his eyes. Tell me what you do or do not see, please. Elrick, was it in the right order?
Perception.
Intuition for this one.
Intuition.
Yeah.
Still relatively chill, or no? This is happening.
Yeah, we're not under stress at all. We have time to look at it.
Bang on the money. 3 successes.
Oh, sweet. You can see a swathe of crackling blue energy going in a curve and hitting there. And it's almost like it's been shot in this direction, and it's like gravity has pulled it back to over there.
That's really cool.
Tell me what you see.
You saw he curved it.
It's still going.
Yeah, he's
holding
sending
it like
his wind, and it's like it's been affected to come back down.
Actually, that is not, strictly speaking, Azir. What he has done is he has channeled and created effect. It's just invisible to the normal eye. That is actually a spell, in truth. And what it is doing is charging that distant point.
How come it doesn't go in a straight line?
Well, there are a variety of reasons, but mostly because the nature of the spell itself, the way it has been comprised, is to work around a force that is about to flee. Some wizards will sense it passing through them, so the spell has been designed to arc to the ground, and it only works on the ground. The ground itself attracts Azir. In many respects, what many do not realize is that Azir itself is actually not just the magic of the sky. It is the magic of the earth, the firmament, right down to the very ground. It is much more complicated than most realize outside the order. It is in many respects a magic of the land. Most think that this is the province of the Jade Wind. The Jade Wind is more the magic of water, which happens to permeate the land. Azir is the land itself. Everything grounds. Grounded. And that is why some of our most powerful spells come up.
No, I had no idea.
Well, this is why you are here, Magister. To be, perhaps. You have done well with that. Let us see how well you do, says, with the castings. Place yourself. Come on. Should I do it now? That's why I pointed. We are prepared for this. As he, Tati Sazi! And he successfully casts. And a swoosh of wind bends all of the grasses here and then causes a stone to bounce up into the air. That is your mark. If you can go, please, wizard.
Right, yeah.
Over and stand in your mark. Your first spell, please.
Right, let's just go with something to ease us in. We'll go Armor of Actuary, and his braziers are lit, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
You might get it off in a single casting without needing to channel.
I think so.
Yeah. You're getting quite competent.
Yeah, so 7 successes.
Sweet. How many successes does the spell need?
3.
3. Dispel. As you gather the actuary to you, start channeling it into hard shapes about, and start speaking the words to manifest it. And as she does, as you do, pardon me, a quick sharp stab comes from either side as an electric shock goes into one arm. An electric short comes into the other one and just breaks up your concentration over the spell. Each of the orders dispel in different ways. Some will cancel an incoming spell by throwing another into it. Others will channel your magic away, which you must be careful for because your college in particular does not train for this. It is how we are, in the Celestial Order, trained to defeat bright wizards. We just fill the area with Azir, leaving you with nothing left to channel, pushing away everything that you have. Surprisingly effective. Or alternatively, a sharp breaking of the concentration, or alternatively, as what I just did there, a mixture of both, where I have sent a charge of Azir directly into your flow. As you were forming those plates, I pierced the plate, hit your hand, gives it a double effect. Let us try the next one.
We'll go with Flaming Swords. We'll have to heal a channel first.
Yep. Put it out. Get the channeling. Flames beginning to rise.
So 6 successes.
Oh, sweet.
On the channel, so he's ready to.
Yeah, he's more than enough. Go for it.
Still chill?
Yeah. You're taking your time.
So that's a casting number of 11 that he's just done then.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, his sword is just lit up.
Or at least that's the intent.
Yeah.
And what's the casting number of the spell?
I think it's 7.
Okay, cool. So not that many. 4 successes needed to interrupt, take you down below.
Casting number 8, sorry.
8, so 3. So yeah, successfully dispelled. As you channel, and the blade begins to heat. You can see the steam beginning to rise. Whatever moisture was on it is gone. And you can feel the heat in the blade as you start to speak the words of magic. She watches, and just as you're at the end, goes, "Tazzy, tazzy, tazzy," and then a quick flick of right in your face. Oh shit, that stings. And as you close your mouth, an electric charge passes between your teeth, top and bottom. And you've never felt anything of its like.
Okay. Ugh.
That is what you're going to have to be prepared for when you go to war, because you are going to receive sorcerers who are capable of doing this sort of thing to you, and it not only disrupts your spells, it disrupts you. You'll find that if you're against a good wizard, every time they dispel you, you are going to be potentially crippled, meaning that effectively you take an interrupt, and your next spell you might be stunned for. Particularly when it's a Azir, apparently. What's next?
I'll try and shield of Actuate. I'm just checking here. Casting number 5. No, he's going to go for it.
Yeah, just go for it. I've rolled 2D. That's not a real number.
10 successes.
10, nice. How much is for the spell?
Spell is 5. So.
5. No, I have done it. I was much closer. As you fan forward and the Azir spreads, not the Azir, pardon me, the Actuate spreads out and begins to flick up in fire as a big arc comes before you. She watches, waits, and then just channels an enormous flow, and it hits the shield, bursts through the shield, and beams straight through onto the other side. Your shield almost held. It's there for a moment and then breaks through. She says, another way of dealing with a wizard of your type is to just overload the incoming spell with another wind. In this particular area, you were attempting to hold your Actuate to hold it in place. My Azir burst through, and there was no way for you to form the complete connection for the matrix of your magic. That meant it was pierced. This is something your college does a great deal. I
was going to say, that's his dispel method, isn't it? It's
just throw it in, burn them, ram it down their throat.
Yeah.
This is something that my college is also quite effective at, and of all colleges, the Grey is the most. Because not only are they capable of doing it, it's difficult to perceive them doing it.
Probably wouldn't know.
So what spell would you like next? Wizard, you're doing rather well.
I'll do the one you haven't seen, Smoke Cloud.
Yes, I would like to see this. Cast it on my apprentice.
So, yeah, because it's just an area that he's in. So, here we go.
Apprentice, it is your duty to stop this. What? Wait, what?
I'll just blind them. That's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't really do much.
Right, just straight up casting it because he's in a good spot.
He'll straight up attempt to dispel.
9 successes. Casting number is 5.
Oh, he almost did it. He got 3 successes, but not enough. Okay, he really tries, and he tries by throwing out effectively a shield of Azir around him. A crackle of electricity prickles across the incoming rising cloud of smoke, as I recall.
Yeah.
As it swirls and swirls, the ground around you parches slightly.
Yeah, so basically it's attracting a crushed spirit's fire,
nice.
The spikes.
Little spites, and leaving trails of smoke in their wake as you summon them from the realm of fire. Not that we discuss other realms very much. Nevertheless, spirits
come from somewhere.
Yeah, indeed. Elemental spirits of fire burning around, and he tries to hold them off until eventually it's smoke everywhere. Yeah. He crawls out coughing.
He'll dispel it himself right away. As soon as he's cast
You'll need to do your own dispel, so that'll be another language magic test against your own.
8 successes.
Target number of spells.
Oh, plus 3. So
yeah, totally. You're through. Yeah. As you then wipe it away as he's coming. Yes, very good. Unfortunately, apprentice, you did not win this day. You must be prepared for this, apprentice. This is exactly the sort of danger you are going to find yourself when you're on the battlefield. This is one of the reasons why we ensure that the apprenticeship of celestial wizards lasts for at least 7 years. There is much you need to learn before you come. You are a precious commodity. Bright wizards do not consider themselves precious commodities. For all that is almost certainly an unfair assessment of the situation. But it is their college, not ours.
Aye, we're pawns. And he'll start to channel because this is his last one.
Fireball.
Fireball.
Send this one at me.
Okay. Around you, not at you.
No, directly at me.
So channel test first. So 6 successes.
Oh,
so yeah,
she's done pretty well. I think
he's ready to go.
I think she's going to be okay. Let's see where it goes.
I was hoping for a crit. So
burn.
He has 7 successes.
Yeah, I've got that.
Yeah.
I'm in double numbers, so we're good. As the fireball,
it was like
spins.
A 4-1. I thought it was a 1-1, and I was like,
and the winds of magic gather, and you lob. The fireball arcs over to where she is, as she looks up and twists. And a lightning bolt slices through the center of it, dissipating it.
That's cool.
It is rather impressive, is it not? She says, apprentice, did you note that? The apprentice goes, I thought you could only cast that spell during the day, Mom. She says, that's because you're an apprentice. Yes, Mom. You've done rather well there.
I mean, they're spells I know.
Let us see how well you deal with this. Are you ready? Your job is to dispel it.
Okay. 8 successes.
She raises her hand.
Oh, sorry, no, 11 successes because I'm still getting Brazier's advantage, haven't I? Yeah.
She raises her hand and a crackling of blue energy pops up as you immediately and are hit in the back of the head by a small stab of Azir. I know that's the province of the Grey College, says, but it's something you need to learn. Nobody fights fair in war. Bright wizards are taught to deal with what they see in front of them. That is what they're taught to do. You need to learn that is not what is going to happen when you're out there. Most of the wizards you're going to face are going to take advantage of any advantage that they can. In this particular case, my apprentice did that.
Aye. Enemies on all sides.
Correct. And you get your attention focused upon the primary enemy. It is what happens. Your order in particular does this. I have made this small demonstration now. You've done it 3 times now? So, how long? It was about 12 times. Only a single one from your order, just one, was able to notice that what I was casting wasn't offensive. They focused on the offensive magic and got struck by the actual danger. Because you look at something and you see the danger and immediately react. It is why studies are important, so that you can understand what each one of the spells that are coming in your direction do. Your order cares nothing for that. They just care for stopping whatever is around them. I always recommend that if you wish to proceed and survive on the battlefield, you need to learn the spells of all the orders, not just your own. Not necessarily how they work, just what they are, what they do, what's coming at you. So that when you see something, you can say, that is not a danger, and that one over there is. None of your order ever listen. They're all brash, they're all arrogant, they're quite certain that they know the best of it. Perhaps you're the same. I would like to hope that you are not, Gromfeld.
From him speaking to other wizards, limited. But none of them have been super eager to share
true.
anything, have they?
If you wish to bring it up, say so.
I mean, I take your point. But it's not like people will go, oh, here, just have a wee look in my grimoire. Just have a look, see what you think.
But there is a standard curriculum for each one of the colleges. Further, if one looks into the various treaties that were put forward and the letters in fact, might I recommend that you go to your college and receive the letters from Volans. Volans laid out in his letters to the colleges what each of the core curriculums were. Expressly so, none of the colleges could hide what they do to the others. They were public letters. Now, obviously, your college, for example, has made small amendments over time. Look at the Sword of Ruin. A completely different spell to what was in the original letters as published by Volans, but the core spell is still the same. It is creating a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I know the core curriculum that the Bright College teaches. Obviously, there are many other spells that many others have learned, taught, passed on, shared between them, but I do know all of them. That's because I've studied the letters of Volans. They are available in all the college libraries. They have to be by law, by college law, that is.
I don't even think I've ever heard that name.
Well, might I suggest that you, if you can, spend some time in your college library. It is somewhere that I know most of your magisters and wizards prefer never to go to. But it is where the secrets of success lie. Apprentice. Yes, ma'am. My apprentice does not like reading. Wrong college, boy. You didn't want to be a celestial wizard, did you?
Well, I don't think want comes into it, does it?
That is exactly the point. And that is a mature comment from you. One of your few mature comments you've made. But it's good to see that you're now discussing as an adult rather than the child that you were first presenting as. It is now your cue to make some sort of childish joke. But of course I ask you to do so. And she smiles.
Penis.
An eyebrow arches up. Really? You are obviously quite the example of your college. All right, let's do something more traditional. This is a simple spell. I'll be casting this directly at you. If you don't stop this one, it's going to smart. Are you ready?
Yeah, but he's going to wait until the last possible minute to see. So similar to how she did the fireball when it was almost forming. I know it'll probably make it harder for him.
Yeah, means, yeah.
But,
totes.
yeah, he's willing to take the pain.
So do yourself a perception test.
4 successes.
So she starts gathering the Azir. That would
She's
be
a witch.
She's a witch. Gathering the Azir, and as she lifts her arms and twists, you can see the pool from the heavens, and it crackles down her arms. Yeah, you've not got Azir properly, but there's a lot of it, so it's quite clear to see. And she channels it downwards into the ground, immediately making you convinced it's coming from below.
Mm-hmm.
Perception test passed, allowing you not to take the difficulty on this as you dispel.
All right,
it would have been a difficulty test. Difficulty 2, actually.
7 successes.
7 on a single channel. Her casting number is 9. Let me just double check. She's got. You dispelled it. As she flows it down, and you don't see where it comes from, but you feel the movement beneath you as you just throw all of your Azir downwards. You throw everything you have to try and disrupt that spell and break it up from beneath you. The ground around you dries and then parches and then begins to prickle into fire as leaves burn and singe at the edges as you shakily channel, unsure if you've done it or not, but nothing smarted.
He's looking around as well.
Is there anything else coming?
Watching The Apprentice.
Is there anything? As she says, rather well done. Only 2 of the wizards that have come have managed to do that. Right. Assessment. She says, you have passed with commendation. As far as bright wizards are concerned, you are one of the more genial I've met. For all of her complaints.
God, I hate to think what the others are like.
Well, I think you probably know what they're like.
I try not to spend my time with
Think
them.
of the rivals that you faced when you were in the college and how they treated you and what they thought of you. I imagine your character was quite different to theirs. That is what I am normally faced with when I do this. I actually quite enjoy doing these testings. I enjoy this. I wish most of the colleges did it. I think it is beneficial to both of us. It's certainly particularly beneficial to my apprentice. He gets to see how you work. He gets to see your character. He gets to see how you cast spells. He gets to fail sometimes and succeed potentially. It's in a moment for his character to be tested, for your character to be tested, and also for me to see how the other colleges are developing. It is beneficial. Have you ever reached a point of influence, Magister Grumfeld, which I think is quite likely given how well you've done here today? Make this better. My order won't accept me into any position of responsibility until I'm at least another 25 years older. It takes some time to make progress within my order. Your order is different.
We don't live as long.
It's not just that. You just need success. That is all that matters, success. Success is expected from us because we know what's coming. Or at least so they say. Do you have anything that you would like to ask me before we're done? I think you deserve time. If you wish, I can have you put up in a nice hotel.
I'm fine. I don't need anywhere nice. I have the barge that I stay on.
You know that you won't be able to access the barge for a good chunk of it until the morning.
Yeah.
So,
no, I'll stay back in that place. The 3 stones. How come Sybil couldn't come?
I think I should require a charm test to decide whether I want to answer that. But you have done rather well here. So I'll literally reverse fails because she's rather impressed with how well you did.
He critted it, baby.
Oh shit! We'll see how many successes.
So, just 4 successes in total.
4 successes, but still a crit.
And and attractive would add an extra.
She says, "All right, boy. If you wish to become a Magister of the Orders, perhaps it's time that you started thinking like one. Come, let's sit down in the coach. Prentice, you can walk."
Can you not?
Right. You, of course. Sit down, Elrick Grumfeld. The colleges are about to go to war. We know it. The colleges. The Celestial College had put itself in a particular position and did so over a year ago, expecting something terrible was about to occur. There are very few of us outside the college just now. War is coming. We know that. Exactly how it will manifest, we're unsure. Nuln is taking somewhat of a neutral card, but it's not neutral. I don't know how much you know about the politics of the Empire, but I would like to inform you of a particular state of affairs, because you seem to be interested, so I shall tell you it. The Countess of Nuln and the Emperor used to be lovers.
He would have heard.
Whatever rumors you may have heard,
never had it.
All of the nobles
and this
were
is
lovers.
a member of his household.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Countess of Nuln and the Emperor were lovers. He secured her place as Countess of Nuln, and then he chose to marry. She did not like this. There has been resentment ever since. He had a child. Let us say that his choice of marriage was not deemed to be fit, because she was not the person she claimed to be. And so said child was then determined to be, for a while, illegitimate, and then the product of an illicit relationship. No longer the product of marriage. Now, of course, there are those who would know this, yes?
If you say so.
The Emperor's older brother is a grey wizard.
Oh, I know him. It's What's his name?
Emmanuel.
Yeah.
See if you trying to reference your memory.
I didn't have it literally to my left.
And he likes repurposing stories on behalf of his brother. And he figured that it was better that his brother was deemed to be single rather than have a wife who had cheated. But the real problem is who she cheated with. Heinrich Todbringer, son of Boris Todbringer of Middenheim. They had been in love beforehand. The marriage was organized. She claimed that she was a virgin. She was not. Heinrich knows this. The Emperor came to know this. Then Heinrich and her apparently continued their relationship. There is some dubious rumors concerning the truth of Leopold's birth. Crown Prince Leopold as he was, may not even be from the imperial household. May be the child of Heinrich Todbringer. You can see why there was a desire to make it appear that he was a bastard, to try and suggest that he was certainly not legitimate. That was Emmanuel's pressure and concern. Now, I had known Emmanuel. I was his tutor for a while. When I was an apprentice, I was to tutor him in the core concepts of the colleges of magic. I was in my 20s at the time. He was a younger man. He is the Emperor's older brother. He should have been Emperor.
I had heard that he came to his abilities quite late.
He did, in his 20s. He was...
rare to be so late and to be proficient in the Grey Wind, no?
Just before his father died, actually. Meaning that he was that close. His brother, his younger brother, was ill-prepared. Was not prepared at all. He was at that point having illicit affairs with the Countess of Nuln to be. She was yet to be the Countess of Nuln. They were playing around in Nuln being young lovers, as they would be wont to do. There's much rumour that she actually fell with child during this time. Whether it is true or not, I'm not sure. They were both young. It may have occurred. So, why am I telling you all of this? Well, it's fascinating just for the political landscape in which we find ourselves. That much is certain. We've got ourselves an emperor who has a brother who is, in truth, probably ruling. His younger brother is underneath his older brother's thumb, almost certainly, and has been ever since the debacle with his wife. And it was made even worse when later there were a host of very difficult situations. I mean, for goodness sake. He had a vampire in his court and he allowed it.
Who?
Karl Franz.
A vampire?
Quite. In his court. Publicly known. Now, you might not have seen this because you were in the colleges at the time.
No.
I met the woman. Oh, of course, she seems very gentille. And she, yes, saved his life. Of that there's no doubt. But she does not deserve to be in the court. It is normalization of things that should be not normalized. At least that's one way of approaching it. She had a different view. I spoke to her about it. Her different view was quite certain. And that was that as far as she was concerned, she was no worse than most of the people in the empire. She may take her sustenance in a slightly different way, but she did not need to kill. And that, whilst, yes, many of her kind might be, let us just simply put, unacceptable, that does not mean they all are. It was something that most of the court found very difficult to cope with or deal with, and eventually she left for I think, very good reasons. But nevertheless, she is still legally allowed to enter the court of the empire by the right. And because, it's a mess. That was the event that meant the brother largely took over and has been taking over ever since, I think. Countess has been watching what is happening in the north just now, the seizure of Reik in particular. That is very close to her borders. Very close. And she has long considered Dunkelberg and Griswold to be hers. That's the two provinces that border her lands of Nuln. She considers them hers because her father considered them his, and we go back, they used to be part of Visenland. But they were, by Magnus's rule, given to Reikland. So for the last 200 years, there's been a great deal of consternation concerning those provinces. And with the Emperor's eyes elsewhere, there's been a certain amount of, shall we not? She's ambitious. Everyone thinks that she's just having parties down there, but she harbours deep resentment towards the Emperor. Deep resentment. As far as she's concerned, she should be Empress. And it might be said that she hates him. Oh, she might pretend something else. But it might be said, now I have met the Countess on many occasions. She likes to present this party princess aura. But I caught her when she was drunk once, and her heart is filled with vitriol and extreme purpose.
I've heard she's a very capable woman.
And that being the case, it was considered to be wise that she have someone close to her who can see the true dangers of what lies ahead. And it is fair to say that her closest advisor thought it would be an ill-fated time for her to leave. So thus I find myself coming up here. She knew that I quite enjoy this business, for all I like to make a big rigmarole about the whole affair. Particularly with bright wizards who like to come in and claim that they will be the best I've ever seen.
Who said that?
Well, you didn't. I found that intriguing in and of itself. Most do.
No, I know I'm capable. That's the extent of where I want to be.
You did a very good job. I'm not one to pretend black is white. You did a very good job. You were competent. You were not a complete credit to your college. Because if anything, you weren't brash enough. That your college would have expected you to be more in my face, argumentative, boisterous.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I found you better than most. And she sits back. So the Empire's in a very dangerous place, and you, working for a young Freud, she says, are in the most dangerous place of all.
Who said I was working for a young Freud?
Me. I know who you're working for. It's one of the reasons I came. I wanted to judge you, determine exactly what your thoughts were, and I'm quite convinced that you're not sure yourself.
You see, completely in fight or flight mode now. And she'd probably see a tension in him.
It's a difficult time. Elrick Gromfeld, wizard on the Bright Order. You know you're going to get a call.
Probably. It's just when.
If I were to put a guess in it, I would say that it's very likely, as you hear the clatter of the hooves as it moves into the town itself rather than the countryside road you've been on, it's very likely it'll be about 4, maybe 5 months from now that the first true maneuvers will come. That would be my guess. If it comes earlier than that, well, someone's pushing hard. Kemperbad. She looks up towards the ceiling of the coach as if she's looking to the stars, and then looks back to you. Kemperbad's heading for war. The question is with whom?
Well, I would think if they have Trot's marauders on their sides, could be anyone.
Yes, it could.
They just like fighting.
No, no one likes fighting. They're good at fighting. There's a difference.
I don't know. I've heard some stuff about Absalom who likes fighting.
Oh well, there is always individuals, isn't there, that disprove the rules as you understand them. This is a difficult time. Are you prepared for it? Are you ready? Because you're going to find yourself on the wrong side.
I'm, as I said to you earlier, I'll be as ready as I can be. I've got time to get stuff done. And then...
Which way are you travelling? North or south?
I believe we're going to be heading north.
North? Do you intend to pass through Outlaw?
Reluctantly, probably, yeah.
I shall send a letter to Altdorf. The order you find most difficult to receive proper attention from is the Amethyst Order. They do their own business and they're quite quiet about it. I will send a letter to a friend of mine in the Amethyst Order. If you go to the Amethyst Order directly, the college, you know where the college is? It's not far from the University District, up in the northwest.
I'll find it.
Yes, it's right by the old graveyard.
Of course.
Now, that old Garden of Moor and the great sepulchre that is the college merge a little. It's a dark place, somewhat ill-favoured perhaps.
He's been in there once, hasn't he?
When?
For his testing. Didn't he go to the Amethysts, or did they come to him?
They came to him.
Did they come to him?
Yeah, they came to him for that testing. Right, I'll send a letter. I will send you to... I will send you to Nachtdrieva. She is young. She just passed. I met her on her way to... Oh, should I go with Dritz? No, I'm going to send you to Dritz. Dritz is a better option. She is currently handling affairs with Sylvania, and she recently passed north to the college. She should be there for at least 2 months, according to what she said when she passed through. Lady Magister Ellen Dritz. She has just been elevated to a Lady Magister. She's working on her own recognizance and is part of a group that seeks to try and hold Sylvania in a place of stasis. She is of the opinion that there are many older powers there stirring, and she seeks to turn the college's eye towards dealing with that matter. The college's patriarch, Mortensen, he is originally a Sylvanian, and he is the head of that particular wing. He has personal interest. He was once, a long time ago, a Knight of Moor, I believe.
Seems a bit auspicious, knowing what we know about Sylvania, but I'm sure they're loyal citizens.
Of course they are. So, Dritz. I shall send you a letter to speak to Dritz. So if you find yourself in Altdorf, go to the college, pass on this letter. She then passes you over a letter, and I will send an independent letter. That will get you in. The letter I send will get you the audience. And she will help you. You've done well. Wizard Grumfeld, you deserve the plaudits and the help. You find yourself in a difficult place. Be aware that that difficult place is going to get more difficult.
Every day.
Have you decided how you're going to fall, should they call you?
Not yet.
I hope we never find ourselves on opposite sides of a battlefield.
I dare say you'd have an advantage if we do.
I think as we've displayed today, we can all succeed or fail at different points. And it slows down. I do believe this is your stop.
I appreciate it, Lady Magister.
Good luck.
You too.
I think Renald will need to follow your footsteps more than any other. Luck is all that's going to save you in the coming troubles.
I think luck for everyone would be a good thing.
As the coachman opens up the... She nods once.
Yeah.
And you're back. By the Bright Wizard Inn.
Boom.
So, we can skim over the next couple of hours as you have a few drinks and you have a wee chat and you reminisce with the innkeeper here.
How shit the Bright College is.
Yeah, pretty much. He has fond memories of the place because it gave him a lot of opportunities and he came from the streets. You don't have fond memories, but you have lots of cross stories where you met similar people, you saw similar things. He was there before you were by some significant time. It's around about 1 a.m. You've got about another 3 hours before the barge has probably reached the bottom of the locks, and you're thinking, do I want to stay here, get myself a bit of kip? It's pretty late. Or do I just wait these few hours, keep on drinking for a bit, and then just crawl down to the barge and pass out down there? You've reached the point where you're unsure. Unexpectedly, a couple of folk do come in, drink for a bit, and then piss off. Apparently, it does have some custom, just not very much. Mm-hmm. This guy has fretted for some considerable time about whether he's going to still have funding by the morrow, and has quite appreciated having someone that he can talk to who at least understands the potential need of the place, particularly given the fact that other places may ban people of your ilk. Mm-hmm. That's when you perception test.
Ooh. No, 3 fails.
Nicely done. Do you wish to fortune?
Yeah, let's go for a fortune point. And much better, 2 successes.
2 successes. That is enough for a flash distant in that direction of a big working of magic. Big working. Enough that he has sensed it at, it could be as much as half a mile away. It's a little bit like a big, huge explosion in the distance. You hear that thud, thud, thud.
Similar to Bogenhafen with the ritual that was done. Not the ritual, but the heist.
That was
overwhelming.
That was a huge, overwhelming thing. You're not quite sure which one it is, but it's definitely in that direction. You're not sure which wind it is. You can just sense that all the winds are pushing away from it, like there's been some form of something.
You'd imagine every magister.
Yeah, most have probably, but then the town's apparently kicked out most of its magisters. Yeah.
He's going to have to go investigate it. Does it seem to be within the city?
It's difficult to tell. Yeah. It's distant.
Just a direction.
It's a little bit like sound. Yeah. You know, you've heard the big bang crash, and it's a little bit like it's the equivalent of a bang crash. Yeah, totally. And this direction it is actually eastward from where you are, sort of northeast-ish from where you are. That's how Elrick finds himself as part of an unexpected party. He didn't expect to be part of a party, but it's, let's say, interested parties. Those who have come in that direction following a similar boom. One of them is Philonia Pearls, who has also sensed the thing. You, Philonia Pearls, and an elf. Somewhat unexpected. This elf is wearing long white robes. His hair is hanging all loose and caught just at the base of almost his back at the bottom. Sorry, Ralph. As it flares out and is caught down there. His features are angular and pointed and make Alamenoi's features, at least as they're present just now, look soft, weird. And his eyes, in comparison, his eyes are full yellow, the entirety of the socket, with black flecks around the edges, which gives him the most alien look. His fingers, each of them have gold rings on. Long fingers, twice the length of mine. He's tall, but his fingers still look overly long. And Philonia Pearls is the one that addressed him first. I trust that you felt that also. As he says, yes, I did. And it's come from the northeast, and it has a twisting within it. Something dark. Ooh.
Not good.
Not good. As Philonia Pearls says, may you introduce yourself to me, please? Comes the elf and says, I suppose my name is Elthis. Ah, Elthis, my name is Philonia Pearls, Lady Magister of the Celestial Order, and this, says, is Elrick Grumfeld, Wizard of the Bright Order. You will find that I am ranking here, so do not be doing anything inappropriate. We understand that your kind likes to be flashy. Let's keep this below. These people do not need to be terrified.
Any more so than potentially they are. If people were closer to that dark twist, as you say.
His face twists with annoyance. I shall not be bound by your... You shall be bound by exactly what I say you'll be bound by, whether you like it or not, elf. Unless, of course, you think this is your kingdom, this is your place. I think you'll find that it is not. This is our kingdom and our place. Of course, you're welcome to join us, or alternatively, you can leave. But as we know there are strength in numbers, we do not wish you to leave, but we understand that if you are to join us, you won't be doing anything that may be to our detriment. Who knows what we're facing? I shall listen carefully to what you have to say, Lady Magister of the Celestial Order. Good, she says. Then let us be about this.
Elrick will try and sidle next to, what did he say his name was again? Easterls or something?
God damn it, elven names.
Basically, he will, as gently as he can, you'll probably find it better just let her talk. It's just easier.
He looks at you like you might possibly be a rat, and then he tries to modulate his face, and it grins. Wow. Alan Menowith is a lot better at this than this one.
He needs human school.
He needs human school. As he says, my thanks.
No, you're very welcome.
And this is how you find yourself down in one of the side streets in Dunkelberg.
Dunkelberg?
No, Dunkelberg, sorry. Kemperbad. We have teleported.
Oh my god. Elfin bullshit.
No. Kemperbad. I went full Gerhardt there. Names? Who needs names? Kemperbad. The elf standing, perching high up on one of the roofs.
I feel comforted knowing.
Yeah, looking down on a building. Philonia Pearls striding up to it, and you sitting back in support, ready to blow up anything that may come.
And there's been no further...
There has not.
No.
The door opens. It's dark. But you can see a fellow there who says, yeah, what do you want? And she says, my name is Philonia Pearls. She says, there was an incident here that I'm investigating. Now the question is, are you going to let me investigate, or are you going to do something foolish? She says, the choice, of course, is yours. She says, but I would warn you that I am a Lady Magister of the Celestial Order, if my dress did not betray me already. Further, she says, by my guess, and I rarely guess, there's fewer than 9 of you in here. It, of course, would be my pleasure, she says, to let you conduct your investigation, I think. Says, well, I'm so very glad to hear that. I do like compromise. She says, and I tend to find that compromise means doing what I tell you to do. So, I should like you right now to back away carefully from the door, carefully, remove any of your weapons, let them clatter to the floor. I think I'd like to hold on to my weapons, please, thank you very much. Oh, would you? She says, and now you're going to back away. Perception check.
4 successes.
Over on the opposite side. Further down the street. Over a barrel. Crossbow. Aiming directly at her. What's your response?
Crossbow, get down.
And
then he'll dive to her to try and knock her down.
Are you across the street from her just
now?
now?
So far away.
You're still far away. You could do or run.
Oh, could he try and... Yeah, he'll try and throw literally a smoke cloud.
Nice!
Yeah.
Choke the fucker and blind him. Love it. Do your spell.
5 successes, which is 8 successes, which is what? 5
8
is the
successes.
number.
Chap, whom you can't see, goes for a dispel. Only 3! How many did you get?
8.
8, so instead of 5, your casting
number was 5.
You cast it! Lovely. So,
let me just make sure.
Let's just, while you're double checking that, you immediately throw out. I'm intrigued to know what his casting number is.
Yeah, it's 5.
5, perfect.
Nice.
As you lift up all of the heat that's been stored from the day, as the axe begins to rise and it begins to cause smoke and fire and blistering, and then pop, the first of them, pop, another, a spike with a long nose, little wings, okay, and then spins around, swirling its hands about, spreading smoke in its wake, causing Crossbow Boy, like this, suddenly goes, what the? And as it's beginning to go, from the side you feel a sudden warping. Like the smoke itself pushes in. It shakes, and then the actually eats it. As one of the sprites dives into it and disappears. Another one spins over there, reaches in to try and get his friend, and as another one just dances around and smoke rises, more smoke rises as the sprites spin around. Up there, our elf. There are lots of different sorts of magic. Yours is particularly fiery. It appears this elf's looks more akin to a burning laser beam. From up there, you hear a deep Taluthi Shua! And it laser beams right down across through the edge of one building out the other side, causing a small streak of fire to rise up from the 2 points where it enters, and just out of your sight goes through the head of someone there. As he then hops and drops from the 3rd floor down to the ground.
3-point landing.
Because he's a fucking elf.
Yeah. He's got fucking laser vision.
Philonia Pearls is raising her hands like so, and between them, a crackling of his ear. Directly in front of her, the chap backs off slowly as she oh shit crits.
Oh.
That's my first crit for some time. Wow. Okay, that's cool. That's super cool. As she pulls and then pushes, and the entirety of the inside of that room crackles top to toe with lightning bolts. Crackling up and down, each one of them blue. Moving all the way through it. He dances on the inside as she walks in and the crackling spreads around her. And she says, "That was somewhat of a mistake, I think." As on the inside. Oh, damn it. I thought I might bring her down a peg or two. I was hoping, but no, he just missed his shot. As a crossbow bolt flashes through, gets struck down by a lightning bolt beside her, but if it had been on target, would have hit her. Damn it. As moves in, hits it the next round. There's a large smoky fire over there with a crossbow bolt man in there somewhere. There's a searing something going down. There's an elf down on the ground sitting on the road over there.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
He's going to go into the building.
Heading over towards where Philonia Pearls is?
Yeah, elf's got this on the outside.
Sounds good.
He doesn't know that someone's tried to dispel. Would he have heard?
He'd have felt that. He felt that whole warping and he saw what happened.
Yeah, no, the elf's got that. So he'll run into the building, try and get ahead of Philonia if he can.
Sounds good. So you go running up towards the building. Philonia is making her way across that. The last crackle is beginning to fade off. Along the edges of the periphery, you can see lots of scorch marks and the occasional flicker crackle of blue energy. The elf on the outside, as you're making your way over, hops and then jumps up over where you are as you run over that way, and the elf dives past, his cloak fluttering behind him, and dives down the side corridor. Ooh. Ooh. And his spell is dispelled. Ooh.
Not that good of an elf.
So much for the bullshit. Elves don't have many fortune points, unlike everybody else, so no reroll on that one. Bad luck elf, as the elf goes down there and finds himself stymied as you move yourself into the main building and find yourself standing right before a door. Philonia Pearls is behind you. What are you doing?
Just smashing through the door.
Bash! Crash!
Yeah.
It bursts down, assuming we pass ourselves strength test. You can reverse successes. It's not
3
that
successes.
strong. You're straight through. Crash, bang, crash. On the other side, well, I mean, this is good news. I mean, sort of. The frozen form of Leopold, half stepping as he's making his way, what looks like perhaps downstairs, sitting there, energy, black twisting down him. Stacked rigidly beside him is Lucas. Lucas is like this. Gerhard, like this, with the most eager look on his face. Frozen. Completely frozen in place. Again, black energy swirling down as you burst into that. They're stacked, one on top of the other, like they're about to be taken somewhere.
He'll turn to Felonia. I know these people. These are my employers.
He says, well, you've been employed by the wrong sort of people.
Can we dispel it?
As she arrives and she went, oh, you mean these people? I thought you meant the ne'er-do-wells that we were dealing with.
Okay, no.
She says, well, we've dealt with, and you hear from the outside, a mighty crack and a crash. Oh, ahead of you there's a door, and there's another door to the left of you, which is sort of half open. It looks like it goes downstairs.
It's always going to be going down, but
the big crash came from the outside, past the door that's sitting in front of you.
Yeah, so we've come from the outside, but this is beyond,
straight through, yes, onto the other side, where maybe the elf would run to.
Yeah, where did the elf go? Did you see?
He says, no, I didn't. I was too busy dealing with that miscreant that's burning back there.
Right. Well,
she says, so these are your companions?
Yeah. If I go, can you dispel this? Can you get them up and moving?
Let's find out. She says, I don't like the look of this one bit. She says, go burn anything out there.
So he'll start making his way through the door at the back of the room.
Yeah, you burst that open, and the elf is backed over the fence post and down it. Pierced, blood spilling down. And the back of the garden, which presumably once had a wall, is all collapsed and gone. And you can hear shouts in the distance where clearly somebody is fleeing or they're making a kerfuffle or something else. The elf clearly did not survive that encounter.
Yikes.
Yikes indeed. Behind you are working. Good to know. And that's what you're encountered with. What are you doing?
So there's nothing obvious perception test to check to make sure I'm looking at my surroundings correctly, or are you quite happy?
No, I'm quite happy. There's nothing obvious.
So something's run away.
Mm-hmm.
Elf is dying or dead?
Looks dead, but I mean, might still be alive. When you've got a big post sitting through your midriff, it seems that life is likely.
Who knows?
Yeah, quite.
I guess he will try and go to the elf first and see if there's any. Where do you check for a pulse on an elf?
You're not sure.
Yeah.
As you go wandering and
you put his hand to see if he's at least breathing.
God, this thing's somehow still alive. Somehow, or at least there's definitely breath, there's movement, and on a post. What's the best thing to do? Lift him off, leave him on, cut it off.
So having done something with Lucas a long time ago to help his body heal, can he attempt to do something similar and then...
I'll need to not have a giant post of wood through it to at least start. And even then, it's very much beyond your obvious capability. Your best bet is probably, Temple of Shalia, Jade Wizard. Something miraculous is required here, not just simply put a plaster on it.
Yeah. Sorry. Earthsea or whatever your name was, and he has to go back. He's not chasing away from Felonia.
Yeah, quite. She is there, and she goes, we have ourselves somewhat of a problem here. She says, this is not going to... I can't stop it.
What do you mean stop? Is it going to do something else? Is it just holding them?
I don't know.
Can Elrick attempt to do anything?
Do yourself a lore magic test.
4 successes?
4 successes. Of all the people for this particular lesson to come from Maven, you were a young man, a very young man, traipsing through the forests, and she was striding off. She'd done another one of her disappear for a few days things. And she was back, and you'd had things that you had to do. And she sat you down in a clearing, and she said, "You know, lad, sometimes I forget that there are certain lessons that I'm meant to share with you, but I don't. But this one's important, given what's happening." And she proceeded to explain, you remember it relatively clearly, about how certain wizards have methods of freezing people in place. Ice witches, shamans of the Amber Order, and certain dark wizards who can just leech away your ability to do certain things, freeze you by certain powers. And she went on for some time about it, different ways to deal, different ways to cope, and ultimately, the most dangerous part, well, depending on the one that did it and how it happened. Yeah, it can be dangerous, very dangerous. If you just unleash it, all the magic that's holding the spell in place goes through them. Right, so it's not so bad if it's a Keisha. If it's the ice wind, it's not so bad. They get a bit cold. They'll live. But if it's something coming from one of the darker wizards, then you're in trouble, son. That'll go right through them, corrupt them to their core, their soul. So you can't let the spell just simply dissipate. What you've got to do is you've got to somehow channel it outwards. And if you don't have a method of doing that, but most folk don't. What you really want is something like something that attracts magic, That is when you break it, and the magic will all gather around it. But if you don't have that, just let it lie. Don't break it. Because if you break it, you might break them. Giving you a conclusion that if you don't have some sort of magical magnet, the best bet might be just let the spell do its own thing.
So yeah, it's probably best that we don't. They might be safe just now, but we still have downstairs to check. Because you reckon there was 9 people in the building, right?
Yes, that was what my reading said. He said, "What happened to that elf?"
He's fallen somehow on a pole. It's gone right through him.
Oh, where is he?
He's out the back, just there.
He looks out. How horrific!
Aye, and someone's gone away. Someone's run away. I could hear.
Well, there's little we can do about them. Let's see what this is all about then. Do you think this was what we detected? This?
Potentially. I mean, there was something that tried to dispel my spell. Did you feel anything on your casting?
No.
No, something tried to undo what I was doing. So there might be more people that quickly just clear the bottom.
I think so. She says, "This time you're first."
I was first last time, okay.
No, you weren't. I was. And then you followed in after.
You shouldn't get into the building, right?
No, but she walked up to the door. Nasi, Laliaf, Talazia. No, stop. There's no one down there. She says, no. All the paths down that way just lead to the same. There's others down there. But there's 4. These are not the ones we're looking for. The others have fled. This place is empty.
Oh, what others?
There's others. They're unconscious downstairs.
Well, let's go. See?
And that is how you find the girls. The lads, who didn't quite realise that they were walking into a giant magical trap, and it was lit off, causing the magical woof that was detected across the city. Will not come out of that particular spell for about 4 hours. Not that you were aware of it at the time that you take them, but they are rather stiff in terms of transporting them. The girls, by comparison, are poisoned and unconscious. It's a far more traditional method of dealing with them.
Yeah.
Knockout. They're all piled in the corner to be shipped out, just like they've been piled upstairs to be shipped out and taken elsewhere. As to why they're like this, you have no idea.
No.
As to exactly how they arrived at this position, you have no idea.
That's what you get for having fun. You should just do boring stuff.
Like you did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. The boys down in the barge later will wake up. And they have recollection right up to the point when they were frozen, where their stream, which, as we mentioned before, was lost, it is coming through the method of words. So that's episode number 14.6. You'll see that pop up in the blog. When they froze, and they had no idea what happened next. Unlike the girls who went down and they passed out, but they also didn't know what happened next at the end of their one because they didn't see the gas coming in. The boys, as they awaken down below, have no recollection of anything past that point. The girls have no recollection of anything past the point where they had gas seep over them. Philonia Pearls obviously recalls the whole thing. She helps transport everyone down with her coach and then down through the lift and helping everything in. And she says, a wizard. I should like you to keep this to yourself. This holds the bark. If you say any words about any of this, anything, they can be scried. My college will scry it, and I do not wish my name attached to any of this, given who is there. I know who that is, and I have no interest in anyone knowing that I did anything to resolve this situation. Do you understand?
No, it's clear. We have ways to not be scried. In fact, I would wager if you tried now, it just wouldn't work. But I understand what you're saying.
Consider it a favour.
There's no need for...
It is a favour. She says, it is a favour.
Okay, well, I hope I will not have to ask for one in kind at some point, but I'll remember it.
She smiles. The elves will investigate this.
I will make ourselves scarce soon.
My concern is for the words that are spoken on the wind. They can be plucked free. Every word you say can be plucked free. Once they are spoken, they echo. Sometimes quite a lot further than you might expect. Don't mention my name.
I've already forgotten it.
Good.
Philonia Pearls of House Holtzwig, blah blah blah.
And she says, good day to thee.
Good day.
Grogwald. If you require anything, I'll be anon. Pass on my fondest regards to Dreet.
I will. Hopefully, I'll be able to meet with her.
I don't know what you're arrayed against, but it appears that they almost succeeded this evening.
But as long as they don't succeed, that's the important thing.
And with that, we draw this particular episode to an end. Elrick having come in, along with a now dead elf, and Philonia Pearls to, well, resolve a really rather nasty situation involving cultists that, who knows, they may get an opportunity to meet again at a later date.
Who knows?